Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Crypto Hipsters Podcast, where I interview founders and co founders, entrepreneurs and artists, executives and stay at home hipsters in crypto and blockchain around the world. And I have an amazing podcast for you today. Let's get to it.
And today, welcome to the show, Alex Adelman, who is the co-founder and CEO of Lolly. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. To kick things off, could you please tell our audience a little bit about your background, and is it a logical background to what you're doing now?
Yeah. So well, first off, Lolly is a Bitcoin rewards app, both a Chrome extension and mobile app that gives people the ability to earn Bitcoin when they shop online at 1,000 merchants. We've really made it trying to make the easiest way for people to get into cryptocurrency and both earn it and also learn about it. And our background is pretty relevant to kind of what we've built today. So we started this journey about 10 years ago, building another company called Cosmic. We ended up building one of the early buy buttons, dynamic buy buttons that gave merchants the ability to sell their products in different channels with this idea of democratizing commerce, making it easier for people to buy and sell anywhere. So fast forward a little bit, we ended up getting acquired by Rakuten, the biggest cashback company in the U.S. and many parts of the world. So we really get to understand the cashback and rewards space over that period of time. And when we parted ways with Rakuten, we started to look at what we wanted to build next. And we had all gotten into Bitcoin, and we're really excited about this idea of making Bitcoin more accessible, because at its current time, Bitcoin wasn't really accessible to many people. It was actually quite difficult to get into. You had to invest in it. So we wanted to attach Bitcoin to something like shopping that everybody does, and thus make it way more accessible to more people.
Great. So I want to talk about when you started. The height of the last Bitcoin bull market was in December 2017. Bitcoin went over $20,000, and then from then to the first week of April, you had a subsequent crash in the beginning of crypto winter. You started your company in March 2018. During the downfall, what did you see? What did you see that was possible that other people didn't see when they were trying to get out of the market you were entering?
Yeah, I think that the best things kind of come from out of the bear markets. One of my observations is it sort of separates the builders from the sort of the grifters. Is probably the best way of looking at it. I think people who are interested in the technology and are in it for the right reasons, or sort of thrive during the bear market. We launched in a bear market right after I think everything kind of crashed down to or Bitcoin crashed to 4 or 5K. So I think it was a really good time to build the community and start to acquire new users and kind of be under the radar. And there weren't a lot of companies that really emerged during that time. So now Bitcoin in crypto is back in vogue, and there's a lot of companies that are emerging now. But I look at it as we got a 3-year head start and built a lot of infrastructure to really get acquire a lot of users and build a real business over these last 3 years.
And you build a cashback model, and how does that work?
Yeah, we partner with merchants, and these merchants pay us when our users shop their sites. So the user, let's just say, goes to Nike.com, and they would shop as they normally would. Let's just say they buy a $100 pair of shoes. Then they get 10% back in Bitcoin. The merchant pays us. We pay our users, sending Bitcoin to their Lolly wallet.
So my wife does a lot of shopping, right?
Great.
So for the kids, sneakers and all that stuff, and So instead of going to Amazon where I'm not earning Bitcoin, I can use Lolly and earn Bitcoin on the purchases.
Correct. Yes.
Great. That's awesome. I interviewed a top VC a few months ago. He said the way to get people into Bitcoin and for Bitcoin to maybe hit $10 million by the year 2030 is to have a few things. One would be open governments. Another would be women shoppers. And it wasn't really until I heard you speak yesterday at Consensus that I thought, oh, this guy has it figured out. So what is your view on women shoppers having a crucial role in Bitcoin, and how have you built your audience of women shoppers?
Yeah, so one of our missions, really our fundamental mission is to make Bitcoin more accessible to everybody. So the stats are that I think it's women make up 88% of all purchasing decisions in the household. So naturally, an app that is attached to shopping is going to make Bitcoin accessible to everybody because everybody shops. But we do believe that because there are way more female shoppers out there in the world that are making more of the purchasing decisions, that it does provide an opportunity for women to get into Bitcoin more freely.
And how have you seen what are some of the purchasing areas in addition to Nike sneakers? What have you seen some of the purchasing really top trending industries for the use of your company?
Yeah, grocery, health, and wellness, like fitness, especially during the pandemic, travel, and fashion is coming back, and home decor was big during. Everyone wanted to revamp their homes. So yeah, lots of, pretty solid distribution across most of the categories. We have 1,000 merchants, so a lot of the you can pretty much earn Bitcoin back on just about anything, and it's been really good to see just how many things people get creative with and what they can earn on and what they talk about. So it's been pretty great for just making Bitcoin more accessible to everybody and attaching it to everyday purchases.
Awesome. I downloaded a wallet yesterday, and I think I earned just by signing up. I earned some Satoshis.
Oh, that's awesome. Love hearing that.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to using it. So I wanted to ask you about crypto influencers. Now, I see it. I look at crypto from the viewpoint of investments. So there's a lot of influencers, but those influencers haven't really made an impact on my investment, making decisions. But you mentioned that they have a huge role in with Lolly, and I want to find out how you're leveraging the crypto influencers' influence to build your brand.
Yes, so I think that the way that I look at it is, influencers have done an incredible job of distributing products to people. They have communities that they've already tapped into, that they've built in many cases for many, many years. So we started talking to a lot of these influencers that we knew were following us on social or were using the Lolly product. Started talking to them, and they were we would love to share Bitcoin with the world. And a lot of these influencers were already talking about Bitcoin or crypto to their audiences. So we thought there was an incredible way, because naturally, when an influencer or really anybody is sharing a Coinbase or a Kraken or any sort of exchange, they're inherently telling the person that they're sharing that with to invest. And it's borderline. It's a difficult thing to talk about, because you're basically giving somebody financial advice by referring them to exchanges. Whereas with Lolly, you're just saying hey, this is the easiest way to get into Bitcoin. This is the easiest way to get into crypto. So it's it makes it just way easier for influencers to talk about Lolly than it is to talk about other applications in the crypto space. So we think we have a really great product for influencers talking about us. And so far, yeah, we've brought on a lot of influencers as investors, as partners, to help us distribute the message of Lolly.
These influencers, with more and more institutional adoption coming in to crypto from the sidelines, how do you see the role of the influencer changing over time in the next year or two?
I think we're starting to see like more mainstream individuals like come into the Bitcoin space. I think there's a lot of Bitcoiners that are, have been very like low key, or people who have held Bitcoin for years that, haven't really shared it. And now they kind of see that the people are listening and people are looking for something else. So it's not like, it doesn't look like shilling. It really looks like education. So we're really excited to, align ourselves with a lot of these, great people over the next few years. And I just think we're going to see a lot more mainstream influencers come into the space.
What are your views on Tom Brady coming into space?
Well, I'm not a Tom Brady like football fan. I respect, greatness in any capacity. And clearly he is one of the greatest of all time. I think, I have a belief that anybody talking about Bitcoin is good for Bitcoin. So he has a very like loyal fan base, and I think people listen to him. So it's great to see those laser eyes, and it's I think he's definitely good for Bitcoin. But then again, everything is good for Bitcoin.
I agree. So I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about you had a new launch recently. You launched a new mobile app, and I think I downloaded it, so I know you did. As COVID winds down and the economy opens back up, right? I'm assuming that there are some like really, really hot areas that this app could be marketed or used. What do you think some of these are?
Like, what do you mean? Where do we, like products or where we're going to talk about
products and services, where you think, like, as the economy opens up, what are these areas that you think are going to be trendy, where you can really target?
Yeah, so we're the mobile app is we've thrived having an extension. A lot of people have shifted their behavior. They're spending more time on the computer. So the Chrome extension has been great for a lot of people. As people start to go back into stores, I think it's going to be really important for people to earn on everyday purchases, especially on restaurants and in-store purchases. So I think you could expect to see a lot of our products and partnerships being around driving people into stores and earning Bitcoin back, more importantly, when they go into stores and shop at their favorite in-person merchants. I think a lot of merchants are going to be very excited to be a part of that. And we're very excited to support local businesses and get people back into stores as we emerge from this pandemic.
How about travel?
Oh, travel's growing like crazy. We have a lot of great travel partners on board. Booking.com is at like 7% right now. So everybody that's like starting to book their travel is earning like quite a bit of Bitcoin.
So I plan on at some point booking a trip for my family, right? So how would I use your app and go use online, or how would I go ahead and then be able to do that?
Yeah, so you could book your flight with one of our partners. Priceline. I think flight rewards aren't very high because flights are a very like low margin product. So there's not much they can possibly do to reward. But where you really make a lot of your money is on hotels. And if you can like look at all of the different partners that we have right now, Booking.com is the most. Booking.com is offering 7% back currently on all hotels. So you can imagine, you spend $1,000 on a trip and you get $70 in Bitcoin back. So it's not a bad deal.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Yep.
So your first company, before Lolly was purchased by, as you said, was purchased by Rakuten, right?
Mm-hmm.
How we haven't really seen a lot of purchases and acquisitions yet in the crypto space. How do you see that playing out over time with the M&A?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think, well, a lot of these crypto companies, they made so much money in the 2017 run-up from fees, but a lot of them really didn't need to, get super acquisitive because they just like were either able, I think, to attract so much talent themselves, and they just had so much money to like hire, and there wasn't really a lot of development out there, building of companies that were being built. So I think as more of these companies start to go public, like Coinbase, and have these monster IPOs or direct listings, I do think we're going to see a lot more acquisitions in the space, especially now that all these business models are proven and there's so many paths to revenue, that I do think we will see a lot of acquisition emerge over the next few years. So the space is like really nascent. It's like I think people were trying to figure out like, there was a big debate earlier, like 2 years ago, where people just didn't think like wallets were a good business because there was so many of them and they were all open source. And a lot of them, like you didn't really, with a non-custodial wallet, you didn't really own or control the experience or the asset, and it could be forked fairly easily. So I think that there's a lot of like products like wallets where people are trying to determine how much is something worth. And any time that there's like that sort of experience, like, a founder might not want to sell, a person might not want to buy for the same price. Now that the economics of crypto are starting to be really figured out and more solidified, I do think there's going to be a lot more acquisitions over the next few years.
Would you see that occurring at the exchange level or the VC level, or would you see it consolidating elsewhere?
Well, the exchanges have the most money right now, so I would imagine, the Coinbases, Binances, Kraken, Gemini, they all, seemingly have the most money. So I could very much see them, buying up these companies. There could be a path where, private equity or, some sort of like hedge fund gets into the acquisition business, but because, they clearly have a lot of money and they're going to want to play a part. But I see more so like the exchanges being the ones that end up acquiring a lot of these companies, more so than anybody. They just have the most money, and the model that is proven to be the most successful is the fee model. So if you look at who's going to be acquiring who, it's the companies that have the most money acquiring the companies that where they believe that they can make more money and have an arbitrage over the next few years.
And where do you think that arbitrage would occur inside the crypto projects?
Yeah, good question. So I think the arbitrages are, we're not for sale right now, but we're looking to IPO probably the next 5 years. But I would say projects like ours, where they are early projects, they're like, we're bringing in tons of new users into crypto. And so projects that are like top of the funnel that are bringing new people into crypto that maybe like a Coinbase or Kraken or these exchanges are not able to acquire. And then also like deep infrastructure. So I think a lot of these companies that are doing like, chain analysis, people who are building like institutional tools, security tools, like private key management. A lot of these will sort of like fill out this like total crypto ecosystem, and they just might be things that these companies decide to buy versus build.
And your thoughts on the swaps, like sushi swap, pancake swap, French toast swap, all that?
Yeah, they're all really interesting and cool. I think they're mostly decentralized in nature. I love that Uniswap was forked. I think it's kind of like shows the power of it, while also showing, the upside. It's like shows the upside and the downside of it. I think the loyalty token model is an interesting one to help build retention in a decentralized exchange. I think they're they're learning as they go, and I think they've made a lot of really good decisions. While fees are really high right now, I think it's difficult for anybody, but it is very interesting that they are able to open up an exchange that lets anybody trade essentially any asset that maybe some of the centralized exchanges just can't keep up with, or can't diligence, or can't risk bringing on certain cryptocurrencies. So if you believe in a free market, which I definitely do, decentralized exchanges are wonderful for opening up a free market and making assets, all assets available to everyone. And it definitely looks like the future. I mean, there will forever be centralized exchanges, and I think plenty of people will prefer centralized exchanges, but decentralized exchanges definitely have a place, and it shows how difficult it's going to be for certain exchanges to compete with decentralized exchanges, simply because they're just able to do so much more, because they're able to leverage open source developers, or they're able to leverage liquidity pools that might not be in other places. So it really shows the power of decentralization. I think by a few metrics, one thing that was really interesting was that the Uniswap, I think, passed in volume, Coinbase in volume, and I think that's gonna keep growing. There's really no limit to that. Whereas Coinbase has scaling challenges, and they have to go into new countries, and they have to deal with new laws. It's seemingly showing it's more beneficial to be a decentralized company that doesn't need sort of fiat rails to interact, and that'll just get bigger over time.
So let me get this straight. Would you think that there would be opportunities for consolidation in that decentralized your on-ramp space?
Consolidation in which space?
The swaps, the Uniswap.
I mean, it's such an early experiment with these loyalty tokens for people to actually trade on decentralized exchanges. If that works, hypothetically, people will have their favorite swaps, and I believe the defensibility will be, can a community build enough features to continue to not be forked, and is there an incentive to keep the developer community coupled with the actual trading community engaged? And so seemingly loyalty tokens make sense for that model, because it gives you an incentive to keep trading on Uniswap, whereas on you might be a SushiSwap loyalist. I think we would have to see something pretty phenomenal for there to keep being these exchanges that open up. But there could also be exchanges that open up on for potentially other chains that are, and if other chains continue to grow, then swaps on other chains will grow. So yeah, I mean, it's the way that I really look at the world right now is that it's very much not a zero-sum game. There's so much room for growth on all fronts, and we've never seen companies that are going to be as big as companies are today with crypto. So all the multiples and everything, it's just going to be so big. So there might be decentralized exchanges that are more popular in certain countries, but then not as popular in other countries, and just because that's where they built their community. But at the end of the day, anybody can use them, and there's probably going to be incentives for different people to use different exchanges, even if they are decentralized. So I think the space is super early. I would really look at the loyalty tokens as being the most compelling things for the decentralized exchanges to really out-compete and win. And those models are going to continue to develop. Like, I think it's almost inevitable for other decentralized exchanges to maybe be more generous, or to do some sort of like drops or something to like encourage more activity to compete with the Uniswaps of the world. But the space is super young, so we'll see.
Awesome. So you said two keywords there, which leads me to my next question. You said community and loyalty. And my next question is this: with those two words in mind, how do we achieve financial inclusivity on a broader global scale in crypto?
I think we have to keep making it easier and easier for people to get into crypto and use crypto. Right now, it's just not very friendly for most people. So I think the world has to keep, developers, founders have to just keep making it easier and easier for more people to get involved in the space. So I think things like Lolly are extremely important. I think exchanges are very important. Decentralized and centralized exchanges are both very important. So the more builders there are in the space, the more people that are building to make easier solutions out there, the better it will do. And then the more people you can bring on, like influencers to like and influential people that can share crypto with the world, is going to clearly be extremely beneficial as well for bringing more people on board. So yeah, it's gonna take time. And I mean, I think safe to say that crypto is like the inevitable future, and this is not going away anytime soon. So yeah, I think everyone should like learn it and try and get up to speed, and builders should build, and people should get into the space, because it's like I mean, it's extremely exciting, fun, new, and it's going to be very important to be crypto literate moving forward.
Awesome. So developers, builders, influencers, and then what do you think is missing between really improving the user experience and what the people that exist today? What element do you feel can improve that user experience?
So I mean, I'm a big believer that like getting new business models like Lolly are extremely important for people to get into crypto, and then moving them down funnel, moving people down funnel into teaching them about Bitcoin. So I think what you're doing is incredibly important with a podcast, and like teaching people, bringing on people like myself that can help with Bitcoin and crypto education as much as possible. So people can be like listening to podcasts. Like we have a TV show that we do every week on YouTube that helps people stay up to date on Bitcoin news and the things that are going on in the space. I think Twitter is an incredible resource for people to learn about crypto and get involved in the crypto ecosystem. Reddit is a wonderful place for learning about crypto as well. So there's so many resources out there, and I think that that's just like, for a curious, interested person, I would say like keep researching, keep like looking for opportunities, and there's just a lot of great things out there for people to like, or places for people to like learn about Bitcoin and the importance that it has in the future.
I agree. That sounds good. I want to thank you very much for your time today. I enjoyed our conversation. I learned a lot, and it's a privilege. So my last question is this: how can people find out more information about you, about Lolly? How can they use your app? How can they earn?
Yeah, so you can go to lolly.com and download the Chrome extension, and on your desktop. That's a great way to earn a lot of Bitcoin. And then the other way is through iOS mobile app. We will be launching Android soon, and we will be launching internationally outside of the US soon as well. So a lot of fun things coming, and yeah, stay tuned.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you so much for yours, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Thanks. Bye.
Take care. Bye.